Tina.
My horror movie review marathon continues. I just reviewed Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's only right that I review my personal favorite horror movie of all time, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Not this version, but the OG. Let's get into this shit. This is going to be more of a spoiler talk than a review, so I'm not going to get into the synopsis and all that shit, because I'm just going to assume that you watched the movie, and if you haven't, stop this video because I'm going into spoilers. I'm going to repeat once again, if you have not seen A Nightmare on Elm Street, stop this video, go watch it, come back, let's talk about it. It took me forever to watch this film. I'm gonna be honest with you, I was a scary ass little kid. I remember being like 4 or 5 years old and afraid to go into record stores because of Twisted Sister. They would have the cutout, you know, the posters and shit of Twisted Sister. We went to the video store, it was called Five Town Video, and I would be scared to go to the horror section. I stayed in the family section, the action section or whatever, stay away from horror. And I know what you're thinking, you're a 5-year-old kid, of course you're supposed to be scared. But it's like, you know, being a boy back in the 80s, you had to be tough. You had to have thick skin, man. You had to have some testicular fortitude. So if you was scared of anything, you was considered a punk. But I was scared. I didn't see A Nightmare on Elm Street till I was about 9. And when I did, it still scared the fuck out of me. I was scared to go to sleep for a minute. Real quick funny story. Fast forward years later, I'm a teenager now, and I show my brother the movie for the first time. My brother's 7 years younger than me. You know, he was real small, but I showed him A Nightmare on Elm Street, and he took it like a G. He watched it. And then it was time to go to bed. It was time to go to bed, and this is what happened when the lights went out. Boy, what's wrong with you? Freddy Krueger, go get me! Shot! Freddy Krueger, go get me! Oh man, yo, I think for a month we had to sleep with the light on, man. That's how much it fucked my brother up, man. Yo, Q, I'm sorry, bro. I think what separates Nightmare on Elm Street from the rest of the pack when it comes to slasher movies is that you actually cared for the characters. Like, if you watch something like Friday the 13th, it's all about the body count. It's about how many people Jason kills and how he kills them. But in Nightmare on Elm Street was almost, it was slasher, but then it was kind of psychological because it has to do with your subconscious. All right, these 4 kids are all having nightmares about this mysterious figure. They can't figure out who he is. They just know that he has these 4 knives on his hands and he's scary as shit. And it's not till Tina gets killed where it's like, okay, shit got real. This guy can kill us in our sleep. That's another thing I dug too, with the fact that they took what was supposed to be the main character of the movie and kill her off kind of quick. Kind of like Samuel L. Jackson in Deep Blue Sea. And to go back even further, like Marion Crane in Psycho, where she was supposed to be the main protagonist, and Norman Bates like offed her like within the first 30 minutes of the movie. So Tina, I think Tina died like in the first 10 minutes. So when you first watching it, you're like, well damn, he killed off the main character. Who's left?
Please God. Please God.
Enter Heather Langenkamp, Nancy. I had the biggest crush on Nancy, man. I ain't gonna front. Like, Nancy to me back then was finer than Froghair. I hate that she died in the 3rd movie. That's one of the only times I got mad at Freddy, was when he killed her in the 3rd movie. I said, you motherfucker, you. There's also some realistic family themes in here, too. Like, Nancy's mom was an alcoholic. If you remember, she was getting fucked up through the whole movie. Every time you see Nancy's mom, she was either hiding the bottle or pouring a drink. I don't think she was sober through the whole movie. Her and her pops' divorce, the John Saxon character. Is his name John Saxon? Or is that the basketball player? I think that's John Paxson. Okay, I think I'm okay. Yeah, John Saxon, the pops, who was a cop. Him and Nancy's mom were divorced and shit. So you have to deal with broken homes. As a matter of fact, I think all these characters, with the exception of Glenn, came from broken homes. Tina's mom was hoeing around, fucking all these different dudes and shit, just being real promiscuous. Glenn was probably the only one, the Johnny Depp character. Glenn was probably the only one that had a stable household, mother and father. But the rest of them, like, kind of fucked up kids. So it was cool that a horror movie can kind of go into those areas, whereas, you know, the average horror movie could care less. Typical slasher movie is just get the best looking teens we can find. They don't even have to know how to act. Show a lot of skin, show a lot of boobies and ass and all that stuff. Wait till they fucking, and then have the killer put a machete through them while they're fucking. That's pretty much the formula of slasher movie 101. Freddy debunked that, and that's why it stood out from the pack. I know it's kind of hard to believe now that Freddy was actually scary at one point, but he was. Before, they took the bastard son of 100 maniacs and made him a cartoon character and exploited him, you know, for financial gain. I remember in the late 80s, I think around the time the fourth movie came out, that's when they had the dolls and the board games and the Nintendo game, which I think I owned. And he just became like a pop culture icon. But you gotta remember now, before that happened, he was a scary motherfucker. He ain't play with your ass. All right, that first movie, that first Elm Street movies, you really didn't even see his face that much. He was in the shadows a lot. It was silhouettes a lot of times. You know, he was really mysterious and he was serious. He ain't play with your ass. I don't think Freddy started cracking jokes until probably like the third movie. I think in the second movie he cracked a joke or two, but even the second movie was kind of dark, even though it was kind of homoerotic. But yeah, he just started cracking jokes to that third movie, but that first one, he ain't play with your ass. In that first movie, it was like he was humorous, but it was in a sick way because he was having fun torturing you. He was having fun fucking with you before he killed you. The first death with Tina, probably the best Freddy death ever. He was toying with her, okay? There wasn't no cracking jokes and one-liners. He just loved the fact, he was lusting in the fact that he can scare this child. And the more she got scared, the more he tried to scare her even more. And then he ended up killing her. Some dark shit. And then we see Nancy stand up to him. Now, in today's climate with the SJW shit, they try to force female superheroes and female badasses down our throats to say like, hey, women are badass too. But it seems like back then, we had women badasses, but it wasn't like they weren't trying to say like, hey, you know, women are just as good as men. Look, we can make her a badass. No, Nancy was a badass without all the SJW shit, okay? She stood up to Freddy. She's in the same category as like a Sigourney Weaver in Aliens, all right? She stood up to this motherfucker and turned her back on him. Remember when Freddy came up from the sheet and he was like behind her? And he was like, yeah, you thought you was going to get away from me. And she's like, I know you too well now, Freddy. This is all just a dream. Like, had her back turned to him, faced him, talked her shit, and then walked away like a G. And wrapping this up, guys, I had a joy watching this movie again. I don't know what I'm gonna review next. I'm just trying to watch the movies that really scared me and had an impact on me. And I had to start out with Chainsaw Massacre and A Nightmare on Elm Street. So it's obvious, y'all. I'm giving A Nightmare on Elm Street a fucking plus. I might check out this one next. I haven't seen this one in a while either. Yeah, I might review Dream Warriors. Probably right now after this one, but somewhere down the line, I'm gonna review Dream Warriors. So, anyways, y'all, what are y'all thoughts on Nightmare on Elm Street? Did it scare you as a shorty? Do you think it's corny now? Comment freely below. Thank you for watching. As always, this is Rashad G signing out. See you in the next video.